Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're heading way up north, virtually speaking, of course.
Yeah.
We're zeroing in on a really interesting Arctic trip, the Finland and Norway tour with Northern Lights cruise. It's all laid out on finlandtour.fi.
Yeah, our goal here is basically to unpack this specific tour. We want to get a real feel for the itinerary, figure out what's included, and understand why it's positioned as this, unique Arctic adventure, especially with that Northern Lights cruise element. We've looked at the detailed description on their site, the day-by-day plan, the inclusions, exclusions, and really importantly, what actual travelers are saying about it. Honestly, I'm quite excited to explore this. It sounds like a proper Arctic Circle experience.
It does, and what's interesting is how the source material, finlandtour.fi, frames it. They call it an Arctic Odyssey. It's specifically set up as a 6-night, 7-day trip, and the whole point seems to be showcasing the Arctic's most stunning winter wonders. So it's curated.
Right, curated. And that mix of countries, Finland and Norway, that's what grabbed me initially. Sort of weeds through Finnish Lapland and then up into northern Norway. You're hitting places like Rovaniemi, Kirkenes, Tromsø. These are iconic Arctic towns, aren't they? Each must have a pretty different vibe. How tricky is it, do you think, to blend those two experiences smoothly?
That's a really good point. Logistically, crossing borders up there, especially in winter, it takes careful planning. But that's also where the magic happens, I think. You get this great contrast. Finnish Lapland, well, it's very much about Santa, the huskies, the reindeer, that cozy forest feel, the saunas. Then you cross into Norway, and suddenly it's all dramatic fjords, the coastline, maritime history. It's quite different. And this tour seems designed to bridge that gap, make it feel, well, seamless, which is something the reviews actually mention. And speaking of reviews, it scores well, 4.5 out of 5 stars, based on the 4 reviews they show. That suggests people are generally pretty happy with it. You do need to be aware, though, it's presented as a premium trip. The starting price is listed at $6,200. So it reflects that kind of all-encompassing adventure.
Okay, 6,200. Good to know the ballpark. So the overview sounds great, but I think the day-by-day breakdown is where you really see why it gets those ratings. Let's walk through it. So day 1. You arrive in Rovaniemi, Santa's official hometown, right? You get picked up, transferred to your hotel, check in. Pretty standard arrival stuff. But then the very first evening, bam, you're out on a Northern Lights tour. Straight into the magic. It feels like a good way to ease in, kind of low-key but exciting.
Exactly. It sets the tone. And it's smart to start relatively gently because day 2, wow, still in Rovaniemi, but this is where the energy really picks up. It's packed, absolutely packed. Breakfast, then straight to Santa Claus Village. And we're talking the key stuff here. A 500-meter husky ride. Got to do that, right? Hating Santa himself. Crossing the Arctic Circle line, you even get a certificate. Plus exploring Snowman World, which is, it's this amazing place made entirely of snow and ice. Slides, sculptures, kids love it, but honestly, it sounds pretty cool for adults too. Then there's lunch included, a traditional Finnish sauna experience, which is a huge part of the culture, and then you go out for a second Northern Lights tour, this time by bus, to get maybe different views. So yeah, day 2 is definitely high energy, a real Lapland immersion.
Phew, that sounds like a whirlwind. But in a good way, all those iconic things packed into one day. Okay, so after that, day 3 involves a change of pace and place. You have breakfast, check out a Rovaniemi hotel, and then it's a scenic transfer across the border to Kirkenes in Norway. You're traveling through that Arctic landscape, watching it change. Then you arrive in Kirkenes and check into the snow hotel. Now that sounds like a bucket list thing. Sleeping in a hotel literally carved from ice and snow. How does that even work? Is it freezing?
Well, they provide special thermal sleeping bags and reindeer hides, so it's meant to be surprisingly comfortable despite the ambient temperature being below 0. It's definitely unique. Day 3 is marked as moderate intensity, mainly because of the travel, but ending with such a unique stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty special.
Okay, I'm sold on the snow hotel idea. What about day 4, still in Kirkenes?
Day 4 is another highlight, focused on the famous king crabs. You do this half-day king crab safari. You head out onto the frozen fjord, often by snowmobile-pulled sled. Then you actually help pull up these giant king crabs through holes cut in the ice. It's very hands-on. And the best part, afterwards you get taken to a cozy little cabin or restaurant nearby for an all-you-can-eat king crab feast. Freshly caught and cooked right there. Again, it's moderate intensity, but it's that blend of adventure and, well, delicious local food. A really authentic Arctic experience.
King crabs you helped catch.
Aye.
Okay, so snow hotel, king crabs, what's next? Day 5 sounds important.
Day 5 is pivotal. This is where the cruise element comes in, the Northern Lights Arctic Cruise, part of the tour name. You board the Havila cruise ship in Kirkenes. Now, Havila operates some of the ships on the classic Norwegian coastal route. They're modern, comfortable, designed for viewing the scenery, and crucially, sailing under the Aurora Zone. It's a one-night, two-day voyage heading towards Tromsø. So you get your cabin, settle in, the ship starts sailing, making stops at small ports like Vardø, Båtsfjord, Berlevorg, places you'd likely never visit otherwise. And the evening is all about being on deck, hopefully, watching the northern lights away from any light pollution. It's listed as low intensity, mostly just enjoying the journey and the views.
Ah, okay. So the cruise isn't just point A to B, it's an experience itself, sailing along that remote coast. What about day 6? Still cruising?
Yep. Day 6, you're still on board, sailing south along Norway's incredible coastline. You pass more ports, Meham, Kilefjord, Honningsvåg, Hammerfest. You're seeing this continuous panorama of fjords, mountains plunging into the sea, little fishing villages. It must be breathtaking. Then, usually in the late afternoon or evening, you arrive in Tromsø, often called the gateway to the Arctic. You disembark, get transferred to your hotel, check in. Day 6 is moderate, mostly relaxing on the ship, but then arriving in a new city.
That coastal journey sounds like a photographer's dream. Just constant amazing views, I imagine. And then Tromsø itself is a destination. Okay, so that covers the cruise portion. What happens on the last day?
Day 7 is straightforward. It's departure day. Breakfast at the hotel in Tromsø, check out, and then a transfer is arranged to get you to Tromsø Airport or the train station if that's your plan. A smooth wrap-up to the whole adventure. Low intensity, just heading home.
Okay, that itinerary sounds incredibly comprehensive. Rovaniemi's magic, the unique snow hotel, the king crabs, that stunning coastal cruise, Tromsø. It covers a lot of ground, literally and experientially. Which brings us to the practical side again. What exactly is included in that $6,200 starting price? Let's break that down based on the finlandtour.fi info.
Right, so accommodation-wise, it's pretty clear. 2 nights in a city hotel in Rovaniemi, then the 2 nights in the Kirkenes Snow Hotel, that unique stay, the 1 night, which is really like a day and a half, on the Havila cruise ship from Kirkenes to Tromsø, and finally 1 night in a hotel in Tromsø.
Got it. 6 nights total accommodation. But what about getting around? Flights?
Yeah.
Transfers?
Yes, the logistics seem well covered. It includes the domestic flight you need within Finland, from Helsinki up to Rovaniemi to start the tour. All your airport transfers are included: arrival in Rovaniemi, departure from Tromsø, and those key transfers between locations, like the scenic drive from Rovaniemi to Kirkenes. And they also mention a transfer to Saraselka from Rovaniemi, which is interesting perhaps for onward travel or specific versions. That's listed. Food-wise, breakfast is included every day. And importantly, while you're on that Havila cruise for the day and night, all your meals are included.
Okay, that covers the basics: where you sleep, how you get there, breakfast, and cruise meals. But the real value often lies in the included activities, right? What experiences are baked into the price?
Absolutely. And this is where it connects back to being potentially the best tour for someone wanting this specific mix. You're getting those dedicated Northern Lights tours, multiple attempts, which is key because sightings are never guaranteed. You get that full Santa Claus Village experience. We talked about the Husky Ride, Santa Meeting, Arctic Circle Crossing, Snowman World. There's also a 2-hour snowmobile safari listed as included, classic Arctic fun, the King Crab Safari, including the feast, and even a whale watching cruise is mentioned in the inclusions list. That adds another significant wildlife dimension depending on the season, usually for Tromsø. So these aren't optional extras you have to budget for. They are part of the core package price.
Wow, okay. Snowmobiling and whale watching too. That really rounds it out. It sounds very, very comprehensive. But it's always good to be clear on what's not included, just so you can plan properly.
Definitely. Standard exclusions apply here. Your international flights to get to Helsinki and back home from Tromsø are not included. Most lunches and dinners are on your own dime, except for those specified, like the lunch on day 2, the King Crab Feast, and all meals on the Havila cruise. Visas, if you need one, and your personal travel insurance, those are your responsibility. Pretty standard stuff, really.
Right, makes sense. So we've gone through the day by day. We know what's included and what's not. Now let's circle back to the why. Why this tour? What makes it stand out, according to the people who've actually done it? Those reviews you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, the reviews give some really good insights. There's one from Maria Polaier, who apparently did it for her honeymoon. She said it couldn't have been more perfect, which is high praise. She specifically pointed out the snow hotel, the cruise calling it romantic, and seeing the northern lights together. Those created special memories for them. So for couples looking for something unique and memorable, it clearly hit the mark for her.
That's powerful feedback for a honeymoon trip.
Yeah.
You really want things to go smoothly. What about other perspectives?
Well, Lucas S. focused more on the practical side, but was equally impressed. He highlighted how seamless everything felt. He mentioned the transfers, the accommodation, the activities all felt well planned and executed, which, as we discussed, is crucial in the Arctic. And he also raved about the scenery, calling the landscapes absolutely breathtaking, both in Lapland and along the Norwegian coast. So it delivers on the logistics and the views.
Seamless logistics and breathtaking views sounds like a winning combo and reinforces why finlandtour.fi might rate this one highly. Any feedback from families?
Yes, there was Linda, who traveled with her kids. She specifically mentioned how much they loved meeting Santa and playing at Snowman World. Predictable, maybe, but important confirmation. She also found the Havila cruise comfortable for the family, and seeing the northern lights dance over the sea was unforgettable. So it seems to work well for different types of travelers, couples, individuals focused on scenery, families. It hits that seamless mix of adventure, beauty, and relaxation they aim for.
It sounds like it genuinely delivers across the board based on that feedback. And didn't you mention a quirky little extra?
Oh, yeah. Just a fun little detail mentioned on the site. Doing this tour makes you eligible for the Finish One cap. I'm not entirely sure what that entails, maybe a specific branded beanie or something, but it's a cute little souvenir, a fun talking point to remember the trip by.
Huh. A Finnish one cap. Nice touch. Okay, well, I think we've really gotten under the hood of this Finland and Norway tour with Northern Lights Cruise from finlandtour.fi. We've walked through the journey from Rovaniemi to Tromsø, looked at the snow hotel, the king crabs, the crucial Havila cruise experience for those northern lights. Plus, we covered what's included, what's not, and heard from people who've actually been. You should have a really solid picture now of what this specific Arctic adventure offers.
Definitely. It combines those iconic cultural hits like Santa Claus Village with proper adventure like snowmobiling and king crab catching, the unique snow hotel stay, and that potentially spectacular Northern Lights viewing from the coastal cruise. So, thinking about all that, here's something to mull over. Considering this deep dive, how this tour blends culture, wildlife, adventure, unique stays, and that specific coastal journey, how might an experience like this change your perception of what Arctic travel can be? Especially how it weaves together such different experiences into one, apparently seamless, trip.
That's a great question to leave things on. Lots to think about if you're dreaming of the Arctic. Thanks for diving deep with us today.